Fam, you got something else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I wanted to read the letter from the UN. He was the director of the UN's New York office, and who resigned after 30 years of being involved in the organization. I thought it was important to read the letter because this is somebody that's worked for 30 years. And when you resign, I'm pretty sure you give up all of your
benefits.
What is it? All your benefits, your retirement, all of that. So it is a huge deal. So I'll go ahead and read it for you guys, and you guys can obviously follow along. This is Craig Mokhiber, and this is New York office. Okay. So he said, "Dear High Commissioner, this will be my last official communication to you as director of the New York office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. I write at a moment of great anguish for the world, including for many of our colleagues. Once again, we are seeing a genocide unfolding before our eyes, and the organization that we serve appears powerless to stop it. As someone who has investigated human rights in Palestine since the 1980s, lived in Gaza as a UN human rights advisor in the 1990s, and carried out several human rights missions to the country before and since, this is deeply personal to me. I also worked in these halls through the genocides against the Tutsis, Bosnian Muslims, the Yazidi, and the Rohingya. In each case, when the dust settled on the horrors that had been perpetrated against defenseless civilian populations, it became painfully clear that we had failed in our duty to meet the imperatives of the prevention of mass atrocities, of protection of the vulnerable, and of accountability for perpetrators. And so it has been with successive waves of murder and persecution against the Palestinians throughout the entire life of the UN. High Commissioner, we are failing again. And as a human rights lawyer with more than 3 decades of experience in the field, I know well that the concept of genocide has often been subject to political abuse. But the current wholesale slaughter of the Palestinian people, rooted in an ethno-nationalist settler colonial ideology, in continuation of decades of their systemic persecution and purging, based entirely upon their status as Arabs, and coupled with each explicit statements of intent by leaders in the Israeli government and military, leaves no room for doubt or debate. In Gaza, civilian homes, schools, churches, mosques, and medical institutions are wantonly attacked as thousands of civilians are massacred. In the West Bank, including occupied Jerusalem, homes are seized and reassigned based entirely on race. And violent settler programs are accompanied by Israeli military units. Across the land, apartheid rules. This is a textbook case of genocide. The European ethno-nationalist settler colonial project in Palestine has entered its final phase towards the expedited destruction of the last remnants of indigenous Palestinian life in Palestine. What's more, the governments of the United States, the United Kingdom, and much of Europe are wholly complicit in the horrific assault. Not only are these governments refusing to meet their treaty obligations to ensure respect for the Geneva Conventions, but they are in fact actively arming the assault, providing economic and intelligence support, and giving political and diplomatic cover for Israel's atrocities. And he sent this to Volker Turk, High Commissioner for Human Rights, Pelias Wilson, Geneva. And the man, Craig, his name is Craig, has since resigned. So shout out to Craig for standing up for what's right. That took a lot of guts and a lot of sacrifice on his part. So thank you.
That's awesome.
And
thank you, Craig.
That's all.